Malam ini kita bakal membincangkan dan membedah siri K-drama Forecasting Love and Weather finale. Para panelis kita malam ini terdiri daripada saya, Nadzru Iskandar daripada BuzzPOP TV. Seterusnya Kaki drama kita Jamal Raslan. What's up bro? How you doing man?
Annyeonghaseyo. Not so good but I'm alright.
Oh, so harap-harap bukan COVID ya. Seterusnya
tak.
Seterusnya Shazli Merican, kaki anime kita. What's up bro? How you doing man?
Hey, doing good.
Apa jadi kat Tarmizi Mana member
Dia kata perut dia masuk angin.
Oh, I guess
So he's pulling out.
Oh, so dia tak ada malam ni. Okay, faham.
Dia tak ada malam.
Jadi kita mulakan je lah perbincangan malam ini dengan reaksi satu ayat. Alright, so reaksi satu ayat aku adalah Forecasting Love and Weather amat penuh dengan flaws ya. Dia mulanya dengan penuh potensi siri ni, tetapi makin lama makin ke laut plot dia, penuh dengan melodrama. Aku faham ni siri K-drama, tapi I don't need this much melodrama in my life. So seterusnya Shazli Merican, apakah reaksi satu ayat anda terhadap finale flaw? Silakan.
It is a fairy tale ending that was rushed. Quite frankly, aku rasa I love the ending, tapi it feels like it should have been the ending of a season 2 of Flow. And there should have been more episodes in between, you know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Because dia macam kau tengok kecoh tiba-tiba like dah nak habis dah. Macam like where is the build up to the finishing tadi? Tak so much.
Okay. Ini merupakan K-drama pertama untuk Shazli. So kita tanya kita punya kaki drama pula, apa pendapat dia yang dah tonton banyak K-drama. Silakan Jamal.
Masa kau cakap tadi, aku punya reaksi satu ayat tukar jadi reaksi satu perkataan, which was aelah. Yeah, that's it. Tapi kalau aku nak mengembangkan aku punya aelah tu, it would be because this was not what I forecasted after the first 5 episodes. So yeah.
Okay, kita akan bincangkan lagi.
Last weekend was an interesting weekend sebab sebab for the past 8 weeks, for the past 8 to 10 weeks, pukul 10.10 our time is 25:21. Immediately after that, kalau kau dah habis, you can take a 5-minute breather and then kau terus sambung dengan Forecasting Love and Weather. So last weekend, the whole K-drama fandom meletup because it was a very stressfully disappointing weekend for most of them. For 25-21, it was hugely disappointing sebab semua orang macam what the fuck, flip table, flip rumah, flip carpet, flip pintu, flip pinggan, flip semua benda flip.
Ending dia tak sedap ke?
Aku suka. Aku rasa benda tu sangat-sangat menyentuh, but everybody wanted the main couple to end up together. So when they did not get that,
tu buku lagi satu. You tak baca pun buku tu.
Tak. When they did not end up together, lepas tu semua orang ngamuk. Padahal when you look back, the writer has foreshadowed this for a long while, and the story was told from the perspective of the lead couple, and the angle was from the daughter, the lead couple, the female punya daughter. It was never about the lead couple. In any posters, you never see the main lead couple sama-sama. You will always see the 5 of them. Yes. Even though you know it's always the lead couple that pushes the story, but it was never about them getting together and ending. It was, the story started when the daughter marah kat mak dia macam ni, aku tak nak jadi macam mak aku, baca diary mak dia. Baca diary mak dia. Yeah, so it has nothing to do with the mother ending. Ni about the girl finding out who the father was, but everybody yang tengok K-drama ini yang hoping for an escapism wanted it to be that lah. And the biggest reason why they wanted it to be that is because the writers did a very good job of writing out not just the lead couple but the secondary couple and all the supporting characters and the stories. So semua orang sedih.
Kita tak cover 25-21.
Sayang.
It's a
I
good
think
story.
I think the last 3 episodes or the last 2 weeks was some of the best K-dramas at least in the last 5 to 10 years sebab the writing is exquisite. Tetapi sebab semua orang mengamuk sebab kenapa kau buat kita orang macam ni, so that was disappointing level number 1. So semua orang mampus lah aku tengok flow lepas ni. I think I wouldn't be less mad at flow. Lepas tu dia tengok flow, lepas tu dia punya disappointment adalah elah. So it was a very jarringly disappointing weekend for a lot of people who follow flow dengan ni.
Tak apa. Malam ni ada business proposal.
Itu semua orang cakap. That's what everybody said. Semua orang akan cakap, okay, fuck Sunday, fuck these 2 series. Thank God we have business proposal on Monday and Tuesday punya finale.
Yes.
Sekali malam ni, lepas ni, malam esok, business proposal pun dah buat plot twist. Maki seko-seko. Semua orang kena.
Apa? Lepas tu ada anime.
Betul ada anime.
Lepas tu ada Spy X Family pula. Spy X Family.
I mean like, itulah. Aku, that is my the long and the short of it lah. I just feel that, I think nobody predicted this. And yang aku nak tambah adalah, this is a JTBC series. So kalau kau tengok K-drama punya rankings, all-time rankings, JTBC pegang paling banyak series dalam top 10. Means highest K-drama ratings ever across the years they started to track it, which is since 2006. JTBC series, production bagus, story bagus, acting bagus, directing bagus, cantik, semua cantik sebenarnya. So JTBC akan ada lebih banyak series in the top 10, tapi TVN akan pegang lagi banyak dalam top 50. Because TVN dia jenis macam kita tulis untuk lagi 8 genre. Tapi every year, everybody will be waiting out for that one JTBC series every year. So, as a JTBC series that started off with the first 5 episodes the way it did, aku macam, yes, another good JTBC series. Lepas tu macam, what the yeah. So, very disappointing. For JTBC, very disappointing. So, aku calibrate benda tu jadi, lah. So lah.
Okay.
Sekian.
Aku rasa biggest disappointment comes from the fact that some people might have been watching this and looking at it as okay, we're gonna see the love rectangle, triangle, whatever you want to call it, punya interaction, but it was actually a story about the entire division of KMA.
Yeah.
So
tak pun. Aku tak minta pun the rest.
No, I know, that's the thing. That's the thing. Mungkin that's the perception that they saw. I mean, some viewers had. So macam sebab aku masuk, aku had zero expectation tau. Macam like, dia cerita apa? Oh, okay. So my view of it was like as a whole of the cerita, not as like some aku tak ada personal experience dengan K-drama. So I didn't know what to expect dari segi what would this show or should not be.
Yeah. Just to respond to that, Shaz. Yeah, that's fair remark. Cuma a lot of people did not really expect. That may have been the case going into episode 8, especially after the first 5 episodes. Tapi lepas episode 8, between 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, semua orang dah start change and tukar diorang perception dah, because evidently they were not getting it. But after episode 12, a lot of the criticisms is not about whether who they wanted to end up with who and all that. I think everyone's criticism was about how poorly
the writing
was post the first quarter of it. Means post first 5 episodes. So dah tak ada orang, the moment you hit episode 8, 9 to 10, dah tak ada orang macam we wanted the main couple to end up together lah. Nobody really cared about that because a lot of people were more cared about how poorly it deviated ke, it dropped ke apa ke. So when the finale happened, diorang punya kemarahan is like, first kau bagi kita first 5 episodes, and then the next 6-7 episodes kau dah jatuhkan benda ni, and then in the last 2 episodes a story like this deserve the ending, but the way the story was written,
the middle
in the middle the characters did not deserve the ending that they got. Probably only one couple deserved it, which is Ha-kyung punya elder sister dengan assistant director Shin, Penguin tu. So but the rest did not deserve anything. So I think a lot of their criticisms based on that lah. Yang kau cakap tu pun betul juga, tapi many let go of it after 8 episodes. At least based on the subreddit that I read lah. Orang lain aku tak tahu lah.
Okay. Dia macam wrestling jugalah. Hype sebulan lebih, exciting kan the first part. The actual match itself is horrible. Itu kat ending dia ada world champion baru macam like
Yeah.
Hancur.
Yeah. The execution lah probably.
The execution je. I think masa last week yang kau tak ada tu, I think all three of us were in agreement that everybody likes the premise, the idea of the characters, the setting. Semua orang suka benda tu. I think basically
me,
the show just dropped the ball lah.
For me, it was the Jeju Island incident lah. The one yang
That tipped it over for
Awet
you.
tu kena dekat situ, Muhammad tu kena dekat situ, and then he got blinded just so Awet tu boleh pergi hospital dengan dia. Aku tak boleh terima lah. That was the last for me.
Actually
Aku tak
kan Nick,
tengok any episode sampai hari ni.
that the one that when you brought that up, bila kau brought it up, aku realise that macam if she needed to be there for them to push the whole Ha-kyung, the Ki-jun dengan Yoo-jin punya couple versus Siwoo dengan Ha-kyung punya couple, it would have made sense for the four of them to argue with each other. What is he doing here? What is she doing here? Why are you doing here? It made sense, but that was not what happened at the island.
Yeah.
Even.
It wasn't.
Kan?
It wasn't.
It wasn't. And then sebab apa tiba-tiba bapak dia datang menyebut sebab nak minta compensation money to introduce to bring the father back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was like a lot of people pointed that out lah. I just realised also.
Alright guys, so kita akan bitching in more detail bila kita bincangkan setiap
Aku rasa
segmen.
kau betul tukar session hari ni punya ni. Bukan bedah. Maksudnya bitching BuzzPOP.
BuzzPOP bitching. Alright, kita akan
BuzzPOP
mulakan
bitching.
dengan bitching fact yang pertama. Alright, kita punya bitch ass segmen pertama kita adalah tentang the leads. So aku ada satu soalan je minggu ni untuk semua panelis. Apakah pendapat anda tentang the ending bagi lead couple ini? Was it satisfying enough for you personally or not? Kalau tidak, how could it have been done better? Kita mulakan dengan Jamal. Silakan Jamal.
The ending not satisfying. I don't think they deserve to end up with each other based on how the story progressed from episodes 1 to 15 and then into 16. It's not that I don't think they look good or they don't look good next to each other. It could go either way if they were treated with maturity, with good writing. But for me, because of how the characters were executed, they did not deserve each other. So the fact that they ended up together just because Ha-kyung sembang dengan mak dia selepas mak dia sembang dengan Siwoo, and benda tu, moment tu adalah untuk redeem mak dia yang dah for the previous 15 episodes tu kacau anak dia, kahwin lah. Kononnya nak redeem mak dia, tetapi the acknowledgement was not even given to the mother for trying to play the role to matchmake them again or matchmake them back as a redemption for her. For me, it's lacking. It was not satisfying because it was too easy. They fought and gaduh sampai keluar ke office, bertumbuk dengan ex-fiance, gedebak. And then they ended up together just because Ha-kyung's mom, whom Ha-kyung never really bothered to listen to, who was more annoying by coming to her house every now and then. This is not her fault. This is how she was written. So the fault is at the writers. So tiba-tiba prediction weather semua menjadi. Lepas tu dia pergi ke observatory nak tengok first snow. Lepas tu hati tercair balik kembali whatever. So it was not satisfying for me because they did not resolve any of the major issues with regards to their communications, with regards to their personal characters, with regards to their conflict. None of these were resolved. They resolved it internally, and at the end when they got together, the reasoning was that okay, aku memang suka kat kau, semua orang tahu kau suka kat dia, tetapi there are other factors that membuatkan kau memikirkan atau mempertimbangkan kembali sama ada kau patut memilih dia sebagai pasangan kau. So kau tak address benda-benda tu, lepas tu kau tak apalah, biarlah dia macam tu, aku suka kat dia. Lepas tu kau nak gunakan weather sebagai dia punya metafor. Padahal dalam weather tu, dalam department K&A tu, everybody was working their hardest to not change the weather, but to try and predict and forecast the weather so that the rest of the country can prepare better. Basically mitigating the effects of bad weather. So when you are using that as a metaphor for a relationship, and then the relationship ada banyak communication problems, conflict issues, character issues, kau tak menggunakan the metaphor of you working as a weather forecaster to forecast the mistakes or pitfalls you could have made by going into that relationship or by how your that relationship dynamics would be. you did not even use that to communicate. Masa diorang nak settle weather, dia communicate. Masa diorang nak settle relationship, diorang tak communicate. Tapi weather tu nak jadikan metafora sebagai relationship. So I thought that was a bit disappointing from a writing perspective, because the premise is there. The components or the elements are there for you to use. So they understand that. Tapi benda tu tak menjadi sebab very inconsistent writing. So many things could have been done better lah for me. The first one is Ha-kyung never really talked to Siwoo when his father met her for the first time. They just mentioned, and we just got a random note saying that, oh, masa bapa kau jumpa aku, itu je. So that would be the first biggest step in their incident in their relationship. That was the first biggest event, because the boyfriend's estranged father, who is dysfunctional and is a negative factor up to at that point, returns to his life, does not see the son, sees the boss who is also dating the son, and tries to blackmail the boss. So it's a major event. And how did Ha-kyung deal with it? By not telling Siwoo really what happened, which is fine, because we know that Ha-kyung knew about it later in the next few episodes. The problem then, that problem tak settle lagi. But Siwoo's reaction to that problem was, dia tak address benda tu dengan Ha-kyung. Bapa aku datang bila, bapa aku cakap apa dengan kau, dia nak apa dengan kau. Dia tak call bapa dia pun, kenapa kau datang jumpa bos aku. Tak ada, dia tak address benda tu.
Instead dalam hujan, bapa aku selalu macam tu, aku pun takkan berubah. That's it.
That's it. So bila dia kata aku takkan berubah, bapa aku macam tu, tapi you want to be different from your father, and then when something is happening to your personal life, your private life, that where you stubborn dan tak nak berubah is a major factor, engkau tak nak mengaku kalah. Padahal kalau kau nak stubborn macam tu, kau sama je dengan bapa kau, beza kau lain, bapa kau lain. So it's very inconsistent that way, which 25-21 did really well. Kalau kita tolak ke tepi semua kebingitan orang-orang tak puas hati, Nahido tak end up dengan Ki-jun lah. So that is one thing that they could have done better, starting from there. And then how Ha-kyung did not really the last time they really resolved and addressed a conflict was when Ha-kyung sound Ki-jun dekat office depan semua orang. That was the first and last time anybody satisfyingly addressed a major conflict in their life. So lepas tu nothing else was addressed lah. So aku rasa a lot of the communication issues between them was not addressed. How they prefer to react on what the other party is saying first. Lepas tu merajuk, lepas tu masa merajuk reflect on themselves and feel that okay lah, I should not do this, but without consulting the other party. So bila dia pergi ke other party tu kata aku nak break up, kita tak boleh macam ni, kita kena buat macam ni, the other party sentap and then say something in response, and then the cycle begins again, repeats again. Oh, aku nak respond to what he said because dia tak faham apa yang aku fikir, apa yang aku rasa. Padahal masa kau rasa benda tu, kau tak sembang dengan orang tu apa perasaan kau, sebab kau ada communication issues yang kau tak address. Tetapi at one point or at some point korang mention, oh, you need to talk to each other better. So that is repeated not just across the main couple but the second lead, which is Ki-jun dengan Yoo-jin punya couple. So and also to a lesser extent senior forecaster So it was these are the things that they could have done better. I genuinely feel the impression that diorang sangkut dengan the whole how to save a cat punya format lah in the writing of this story. So they just feel that at certain points throughout the series or throughout an episode, certain things need to happen. So they just piece things together based on the footages they have or during the editing. Masa writing dia tak perasan benda tu, so they thought everything flowed, and then probably they might have felt that it did not really work out, and then some decisions during the editing might have made them to change here and there and made it a bit even more jarring. But itu suspicion aku je lah. I do not know any better. For all I know, it could have been shot and edited the way it was written exactly, and then lepas tu macam we thought this was great, and then macam oh shit, it was not.
It's quite sad because the first five episodes promised something beautiful.
Yes, it did. A lot of people said a lot of the same things. I even told Shaz that I thought pound for pound, episode for episode, the first 5 episodes can masuk the big kelompok of like best K-dramas or best first 5 episodes of K-dramas of all time. And then lepas tu jatuh. So yeah.
Shaz, macam mana Shaz? Sebagai seorang K-drama virgin, pendapat kau, first show kau?
Aku nak tambah yang pasal kau kata Shaz punya virgin. I'm kinda a little disappointed that this was Shaz punya first rodeo, that being said,
Kan.
I'm glad. But that being said, I'm glad that this was his first rodeo. Because imagine if his first rodeo was business proposal. Lepas tu dia tengok K-drama, dia macam
boleh,
kau nak
tak
benchmark tinggi gila babi sial. Serious.
Betul.
So if you ever watch another one, dia kata, and that other one is a biasa-biasa je, you're gonna go like, okay, par for the course. But if the other one is great, macam, right. So now I'm starting to get why Jamal is so caught up in K-dramas. So yeah.
Betul.
Tapi ni bukan aku punya first drama kot. Squid
was your first one?
Game.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Itu drama
Alright.
bro.
Okay lah, genre. Okay,
Genre.
Justice to Ali.
Justice for Ali, yes.
Okay, tak apa, aku faham. The sitcom
Rom-com.
K-drama ni, this is my first rom-com, sitcom, whatever you want to call it. I like the ending. I didn't like the direction it took to go there. Firstly, aku rasa macam bapak Siwu tu dah tak perlu dah. It was just enough. Macam it's like sekali je, you know, that part like, oh, bapak tak guna. Then later on, it could have been just written off as character. Macam like, kenapa kau sedih? Aku dapat berita, bapak aku accident dah meninggal. That's all. I mean, done, because then you have left a deeper scar in Siwu tau, dalam hati dia macam like, oh shit, you know, aku tak sempat like nak resolve plot. But instead you get the plot like bapak dia dah bertobat, you know, siap-siap pakai business. So kau macam like, what? I stand by my initial comment lah. It felt like there is another one season missing, or at least half a season missing, because dia macam you have the conflict of the point when they dah break up, then they were like acah tak acah tau. There is several episodes missing when they were showing macam like, kau kerja sebelum ni bagus, now dah jadi teruk, what happened? Aku sebenarnya break up, tapi sebab break up aku dah tak tahu nak fikir, was it the right thing? There was no sense of regret from either of them until the very second episode. Ha-kyung nangis kan dengan mak dia, like, there's no like, how did the breakup affect them? Didn't it just made them more like macam ada orang cakap sekitar lah, segannya
Actually,
but it
Shaz,
didn't, dia tak tunjuk.
I think you hit on an interesting point. Bila kau kata there is not much regret, and I agree with you. I saw reactions and outpouring of emotions in the last 3 episodes that could have been mistaken for regret. But now bila kau kata there is no regret, I agree with you sebab now I see those reactions as self-pity instead of regret. So self-pity and regret is very, very far apart. Regret usually comes with a clear response after that. If it's not remorse, it's lepas tu kau ubahlah, reconciliation lepas tu kau ubahlah. Tapi self-pity, you keep on repeating the same shit, you just avoid it ataupun you just ignore it, you just buat tak tahu. Tetapi sometimes when you are self-pitying yourself or when you are in regret punya mood, you could be doing the same things. You menangis ke, you pour yourself into work ke, you whatever lah kan. So really, that's an interesting point that you pointed out, because now it made me macam it helped me crystallize the fact that lah diorang self pity, diorang bukan regret pun. So lagilah pada aku diorang tak redeem diri diorang. So lagilah strong kau punya case kata there should have been another half season if not another season, because they needed to come to that regret part first baru kau boleh dapat ending ni.
Dia macam you hit the high point very fast, then dah start dating tau. And then they hit the low point when they want dah break up. But suddenly dia punya nak lompat balik naik atas tu, there's no point tau. Dia patutnya dia macam, okay, first you get to know each other, then you end up dating, you reach high point, then you are in the dating mode, lepas tu break up, you turun, then suddenly you're back again dekat atas ni tau. And there was no gap that went back up. That point where it's like, aku menyesal ke? Was it the right thing to do? Was I mature enough? Was it the right thing? Or is it because my father yang buat I jadi insecure ke? Dia tak ada macam affect kerja dia. Tak ada langsung. There's no impact on work. There is no macam, you know, tiba-tiba orang yang tak kerti minum suddenly start drinking a lot more. By that perspective kan, the senior forecaster was more true to what you expect for a person punya actual reaction tau. Dia dah asyik, dia banyak regret, he drink away his regrets and whatnot. But Siwoo macam like
And then
okay.
another point is that bila kau kata pasal regret ni, like Siwoo punya decision to take a loan and buy a house was like where the fuck did that come from? Like I get it if you want that. I get it if you want it to be the end game because Siwoo takut commitment. So tetapi it was not established that dia takut commitment. It was established that dia takut marriage and not commitment specifically. And kalau nak kata dia takut commitment, tak juga because he paid the stamp to go and buy the car for Yoo-jin during the first episode before discovering Yoo-jin cheated on him. So dia okay je kalau dia nak buat commitment. He was just specific about personal relations dengan marriage. So tiba-tiba dia nak ambil loan sebab dia rasa dia kena selamatkan bapak dia. Aku ingat dia nak pergi just withdraw dia punya pension, nak pinjamkan duit so nak bayar bapak dia punya medical expenses. Itu je. So we did not see that thought process. We did not see that thought process. So macam lepas tu tiba-tiba bapak dia buka pintu, dah pergi kerja, abah masak macam.
And then the resolution between the cops tu tak ada.
Kan? Kita dapat satu flashback, bapak dia dengar, anak dia cakap kat polis, okay lah, if you want to take him now, you take him. Bapak dia sedih, bapak dia lari and that's it.
It's a unsatisfying ending lah. Seriously, it's unsatisfying.
Tak cukup episode, itu je. This one could have done a lot more. I mean, he could have been like, dia menangis, okay, the father menangis, okay lah. I made my mistakes, you know. No one is like, he allowed himself to be taken by the police, masuk jail. Then there will be like, Siwoo will like, what happened? Where did he go? Kau tak tahu Polis dah ambil dia dah semalam. Kau belah dia polis suruh ambil. So then it's like, they don't, kan? Then there will be a reason for the father to be more like, you know, menyesal, you know, jumpa other ex-convicts, you know, who had like worse lives. Kau ni setakat judi je, aku kaki dah hilang bye. Anak aku lagi semua ni kan. Mati dalam accident semua. Kau ni setakat judi dah buat kecoh. You know, then we like, I actually have it better than the rest of the guys in jail kan. Kau balik lah bertobat, you know, that kind of thing kan. Then he will be like come out.
Yeah, betul.
Yeah.
Kan? There was no redemption arc for him. Redemption arc tak ada.
I think
just one scene dia menangis orang macam like
kita nak je semua orang redeem. Aku okey je, tapi macam kalau kau nak redeem, kau redeem lah betul-betul. Kau redeem lah betul-betul.
Dalam the scene yang dia menangis orang come after the fact that we are wondering kenapa dia dah jadi baik?
So rasa pelik.
Kenapa dia jadi baik?
Tak, placement dia dekat situ is that for us to realise that dia jadi baik lepas dia dengar anak dia pun dah tak nak dekat dia. Dia dah sakit, lepas tu polis ada dekat luar nak tangkap dia, anak dia pun tak kisah. So itulah dia punya kesedaran. Which is whatever, okay fine, that's a good inciting incident for you to start going down the reflection, kau nak remorseful apa punya ni. But lepas tu kenalah ada that reflection remorse punya proses di mana kau lari ke, kau duduk masuk dalam penjara ke, lepas tu anak kau datang, kau marah anak kau marah kau macam mana ke. Tu je lah. Instead what we get is anak dia duduk kat sebelah katil dia, anak dia nangis. Itu je. Tapi itu untuk anak dia, tu bukan untuk dia, anak dia dengan dia, atau bukan untuk dia, itu untuk anak dia.
Betul.
Just quite simply just put that guy duduk dekat tepi pantai ke apa ke, at the bus stop staring at the sea or something. Kebetulan Mak Ha-kyung datang sebelum dia kenal. Lepas tu sembang, tunggu siapa? Tunggu bas. Oh okay, okay. And it's like, then you're waiting for what? I don't know, I'm just sitting here. Dia cerita lah anak aku lah ni. Oh, anak aku macam tu lah, aku macam ni. Dia will be so funny. Dia letak kau mak
Pesan.
Macam like
that would seem contrived, but
you shouldn't have fucked.
That would have seemed contrived, but it would be way more acceptable than the ending that we got, yang diorang dekat restoran lepas tu macam nak kenal masing-masing sama anak diorang nak kahwin. Definitely way more acceptable. I mean, because we have seen enough of Mak Ha-kyung jalan-jalan randomly sorang-sorang tengah malam pergi ziarah rumah anak dia. Sesat ke mana ke. So we've seen that before.
Mak Ha-kyung could have just explained like, you know, terfikirlah dulu the beach, my husband dulu bawa anak everything, dia cerita lah. So then after the father like terfikir, betul juga masa aku dengan anak aku Siwoo dulu ada ke buat macam dia? Oh tak ada, you know. There's so many ways for him to like, there's so many triggers for him to start reflecting, tapi tak tunjuk.
Betul.
All was shown like just one scene dia menangis, lepas tu macam like okay lah,
Okay.
malas. Bro, tak
Betul.
boleh bro. It doesn't
Betul.
work that way.
Kalau scene dia nangis tu dalam episod 15, lepas tu episod 16 the redemption, aku boleh bagi muka lagi because you have the space of one episode to do that. Ini tak tau. Dia nangis in the middle of episode 16, dia redeem at the end of episode 16. 20 minute gap. Aku macam ya Rabbi.
Slipshot writing.
I like the ending lah, itu je. But I just don't like the journey.
The
Dia
journey
banyak
of
sangat.
getting there. Yeah.
A lot of episodes missing.
Alright guys, so dengan itu berakhirlah segmen ini and it brings us to our second leads. Alright, untuk segmen ini kita ada satu soalan je untuk dua panelis kita. Apakah pendapat anda pula tentang ending bagi the second lead couple? Was it satisfying also for you personally, or how could it have been done better pada pendapat anda? Kita mulakan dengan Jamal. Silakan Jamal.
Memang tak suka this entire ending lah. Mengaku je lah.
Yeah. I do not know how to describe how macam mana. Okay. After when we reach episode 8 to 10, we all had a feeling that apa pasal tiba-tiba cerita ni pasal Ki-jun Yoo-jin bukan Shiwoo Ha-kyung. Okay? You know what? Fair. If you want to make it about them now, go ahead, do it. So when you got the Jeju punya incident, you would have expected that is where things really, really escalated. You know, they could not escape because it's a fucking island. Ki-jun doesn't have anywhere else to go, which is pretty dumb when you decide to go on a trip to an island to solve an office-related issue, but kau tak book hotel. So it's impossible. Kan? Impossible lah kan? So okay, tak apalah. Dia nak kena jumpa.
Kena lempang. Ya, sila.
Dia nak kena jumpa. Lepas tu dia nak kena cakap. So it was not perfect, but it was there because it started when Yoo-jin, I guess you really did not come because of me, because you came to, you know, for Siwoo and Siwoo's father and whatever not. So, and then diorang jumpa dekat rumah parents Yoo-jin, and somehow or other, magically, after arguing right before sleep, the following day, dia keluar balik, mak dia kemas barang, tak perasan kat dalam tong sampah tu ada pregnancy kit. So like, where the fuck did that come from? Lepas tu, sebelum tu ada bab Ki-jun kena marah dengan bapa tiri Yoo-jin sebab dia buat Yoo-jin menangis. Kenapa? Just because bapa tiri Yoo-jin pun perlu redemption juga sebab Yoo-jin kata I never felt him as a father, tapi sekarang bapa dia defend dia. We don't need that. She did not need that. So now going to this couple, so they missed that big opportunity to make Jeju some shit. Okay, where this couple really fought because dia lari, lepas tu dia pergi Jeju. She left the house and she went to Jeju. But we did not get that. What we got was okay, up to that point. Kalau kau ambil daripada episod 6-7 sampai ke that episode when Yoo-jin dah sampai Jeju, myself included, a lot of people were slowly beginning to realize apa salah aku rasa macam Yoo-jin punya karakter je, punya arc je yang solid. Meaning kita nampak yang okay, you cheated or you treated Siwoo like this, you cheated with Ki-jun and then you got married and then blah 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 blah, and then lepas tu Ki-jun punya flaws or traits as a man, as your husband is starting to affect you, starting to affect him, which then affects the marriage and then affects you. And then nampak kau ada character arc dekat situ. Okay, you thought this marriage was going to be perfect, but it was not. And then you have real issues with your husband who is caused by his issues with however he treated the whole relationship, which is pretty great. And then dia lari, which is very natural. Tapi dia tak tahu dia nak pergi mana because rumah dia of course dekat Jeju, so dia kena lari dekat situ sebab dia tak ada duit. Makes a lot of great sense. And then dia pergi Jeju. It's all perfect. It's all really nice. And people started to realize, okay lah, dalam 4 orang ni, nampaknya Yoo-jin at this point is having the best arc so far. Sebab bila dia gaduh dengan husband dia lah, kalau ada husband dia macam tu, dia gaduh dengan husband dia, memang kita dapat macam tu lah. Tapi sekarang because dia bengang dengan husband dia ada moment to reflect and dah start nampak dia nak adult atau dia nak mature. Cool. So after all that, husband dia pergi dekat Jeju, and then diorang balik, benda tu dah tak ada. So dia punya, dan dia pergi Jeju buat apa? Faham tak? Because the husband tak minta maaf dan minta ampun terhadap kesilapan-kesilapan yang spesifik. The husband just melutut depan adik tiri dia, depan adik Yoo-jin, and then Yoo-jin segan. So dah jangan. Lepas tu Ki-jun buat muka comel, oh so sekarang you dah maafkan I lah. Kalau it only took you to kneel down in front of her, bro, kau boleh kneel down ke office lah, lagi romantic lah bro. Kan? So aku rasa macam it cheapened whatever arc she was getting at that point. And then lepas tu it became an argument about, oh, argument yang lain tak settle lagi, let's throw a bigger wrench. Oh, ada anak, so kita orang sekarang kena sembang pasal anak. Bro, kau tak settle lagi kau punya relationship punya issues, communication issues sebelum tu.
And kau tak sign lagi dokumen.
Kau tak sign lagi dokumen tu. You did not even resolve that shit. Faham tak? Like,
rupanya ada jalan lain sebenarnya.
Ada jalan lain. What we all need to see is just basically Ki-jun kata, yes, I've been a dick. And then Yoo-jin cakap, what exactly did you do to become a dick? Okay, I focused on Ha-kyung instead of you. When I saw Siwoo, it reminded me of how I treated her, and it made me realize that could have been me. And I felt bad, I felt jealous. But that did not mean that I did not love you, because what I felt for you was real. Kalau kita dapat satu je scene macam tu daripada Ki-jun, kita boleh maafkan dia. Dan kita boleh kata, okay, cerita ni tak perfect, tapi Ki-jun said what he needed to say. But we didn't even get that. So Ki-jun basically fucking skirted around the whole entire thing, and just because the wife dah lari pergi Jeju and then pregnant, he got a fucking free pass.
Yeah.
So bila dia kata dengan ending dalam last 2 episodes ni, oh, I realised I've been an asshole. No, you knew you were an asshole. What you needed to realise was what you did specifically to hurt your wife. Because you got sidetracked and distracted by or preoccupied with Ha-kyung and Siwoo. That is what you needed to apologize for. Because you can still be an asshole. Your wife will still love you because you're not just an asshole. You're an asshole that has a husband, that has done things with her, blah 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 blah. We are flawed. We are both assholes and geniuses. So kau kena bagilah benda tu. So dia tak bagi. So I feel that it's a fucking cop out. It's a really really stupid cop out. And then it cheapened Yoo-jin punya conflict, which was surprisingly not necessarily well fleshed out, but it had a proper arc compared to all the four characters, within the 4 characters. What they could have done better, aku rasa aku dah mention sana sini sikit. The writers did not respect their stories lah, their characters. I think the writers worried too much about the plot and when, in which episode, what should happen, and they basically disrespected their characters. I wouldn't even use the argument, oh, they had so many subplots, so they may not have space to flesh it out. No. You had enough time. You were not economical in your writing. Many series did this. Reply 1988, 4 family bro. 4 family, semua main character. 4 family punya drama 1, siblings punya drama 2, siblings kawan dengan the other 3 family punya ni dynamics 3, backdrop dia Seoul Olympics 4. They can do it. Yeah. And they did it like what?
Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So boleh. So, and if you knew you couldn't do it, why the fuck did you want to do it in the first place? Kurangkanlah satu subplot. But yeah, you didn't. So aku rasa many other things that could have been done better in the last 2 episodes. Aku rasa just because he googled, that doesn't mean he changed and he now wants the baby. You know, he was so caught up with Ha-kyung, and then he forgotten about the fact that he was caught up with Ha-kyung and Siwoo. Habis tu kau gaduh dengan wife kau sampai wife kau lari pergi Jeju tu, kenapa? If it was that easy for you to forget about it, oh, dia ada anak, oh, wife kau lari pergi Jeju, aku malu. Then it's not relationship lah. So there's so many of these kind of things that came out in this series, especially for this couple. And I'm not happy with them ending being okay with each other. Like really, really unhappy. I don't mind. Aku okay kalau they are supposed to end up with each other, but not this way, because it's all over the place. So for me, just because they are the second lead, which is why it's very deeply unsatisfying, because this is basically the same shit as Siwoo punya bapa. You do not deserve the redemption that you get within the story, within the series lah. As characters, all characters deserve redemption, kan? Tapi within the 16 episodes you don't deserve it. So pada aku macam no lah, I sangat kecewa. Tapi sebab aku dah tak kisah pasal karakter ni, aku macam hak Ella je lah. Macam it was that easy. It was so hard for you to even run out from the house to go to, and then kau kena duduk dekat tempat mandi tu, public bath tu before you ride to Jeju, but it was so easy for you to come back. Like
dia dah ada baby bro, kau kena faham, okay?
It's I don't know. I mean, like, she's saying the right. I mean, like, more often than not, starting from episode 5 onwards, she says the right things. But I think her realizations and all these things were cheapened lah. Ki-jun, I just feel that, oh my god, I hope he doesn't become a trope. I think kalau orang kata men are trash, lepas tu dia refer to Ki-jun, you know what? We fucking deserve it. And the blame goes to the writers lah for writing such a stupid male character. Betul. Aku tak nak even argue whether men deserve to be men are trash or not, because kalau men are trash, betul orang refer kat Ki-jun, and ada orang kata Ki-jun orang macam ni real je.
On point.
You know what? Then kita deserve lah men are trash, then we cannot say anything.
Yeah.
Kan? I'm not even going to talk about women apa benda. Yeah, pasal mama-mama macam ni lah. Tapi he is only written by the writers kan. So aku macam no comments lah. I think the actor and the director should have known. Could have like read it macam Conti lari lah, character tak consistent lah.
Tak unlikable.
Somehow, somewhere during the acting ni, because dramas like this, talents like this, productions like this, there will be a degree of freedom afforded to the lead characters for them to work off of the director and the writers, for them to make it more their own. So then the actors can be more involved and be more represent the characters more. Macam kalau kau tengok 25-21, kalau tengok behind the scenes, ada satu scene tu, a business proposal scene, Young-seo dengan Hari mabuk dekat kedai bapak dia masa dia balik malam tu kan, lepas tu dia mabuk. Young-seo tak minum tau, because she doesn't drink. So Hari je yang minum. So they worked it out between themselves and the directing team. Okay, how do we shoot this? How do we say this? I'm going to say this, I'm going to get tipsy, and you're going to say this, so we have to play off each other. We cannot say this. So they do that.
That's cool.
So yeah, so half of that scene yang dia peluk kalau tu so sad tu, yang lawak gila babi tu, half of it was ad-lib.
Wow.
They just know that we needed a scene yang diorang mabuk dekat kedai bapak dia. These are the general things that you need to be said, and then the actors were given the freedom to do that. 25-21 pun ada certain scenes yang macam, okay, Kim Tae-ri was allowed. Okay, how would you say this? And then Namdo-san kata, I don't think I want to show it this way because Baek Ki-jun wouldn't say this or wouldn't do it this way. So I'm pretty sure. So kalau actors ni tak buat macam tu, aku tak tahu. So I'm just not going to think about that anymore.
Okay, Shaz, apa pendapat kau tentang second leads? Did you like the ending? Or
again, tak cukup episode. But I think the biggest problem to me was Ki-jun punya karakter. Dia tak konsisten. Kadang-kadang dia mature, kadang-kadang dia bebal. You know, and he's especially bebal to the wife. Kau perasan tak? Dia punya tahap bebal tu dengan wife dia tau. Tapi dengan perempuan lain the moment is not someone that matters to him kita kena faham. Bila macam ni, awak kena macam tu. Tapi dengan bini dia kena bla 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 bla. Sama lah dengan Ha-kyung kot masa ada 10 year punya relationship. So it feels like dia bebal dengan girls. And that is dia punya main characteristic. In any other place je kan, wah, kalau dia ni perempuan yang tak ada kaitan dengan aku, alright. Macam dia first time jumpa dengan Yoo-jin tu kan, Encik, yang ni apa maksud dia encik? Lepas tu dia explain. Lepas tu cakap, boleh pula dia maintain cool dia, cerita everything. Dengan colleague lain ni semua okey je, tak ada masalah, tak ada nampak bebal. Sampai je orang dia minat. All the stupid thing dia cakap, semua benda yang dia tak boleh faham. I think that was the biggest problem lah, karakter dia. The rest of it, Jamal dah rembat dah habis tadi.
Okay, pada aku, this is one of the reasons aku benci siri ni lah. Like Ki-jun started out as a unlikable character, and then nearing the end, dia tak belajar apa-apa. He is still the unlikable character that you hated. You know, it's like
Oh tak, that's not it. He's the unlikable character that seems to be cool. But because we've seen his stupidity already, we know it's not.
Yes, we know.
So,
we
macam
know. Fast start dia tu.
At least kan kalau you compare kan, since I more into manga anime kan, you compare dengan One Piece to me is a masterpiece of writing. The characters since season from the first arc sampai sekarang, core character dia tak berubah. Dia punya core beliefs, dia punya world view might change. Like, oh okay, now I need to get stronger. You know, I have to go do some separate training and whatnot. But if the guy cannot navigate to save his life, he will never be able to navigate. Sampai bila-bila dia akan sesat. Sebab benda tu is innate to him. And then kalau Mamat ni, dia tak boleh angkat 100 kilo and dia tak pernah train his entire life to angkat 100 kilo, dia tak ada tiba-tiba boleh angkat 100 kilo. So the core traits are very consistent tau. Macam dia ni like dia bebal, tapi towards the end of the series macam he's trying to look like the abang dewasa. He actually explains why he's like, oh sebab saya tengok macam ni, saya kenal dia dulu, no, I mean your friend. So why was all this not shown in early part of the season kan? Macam like, kenapa kita nampak dia ni bebal dia dulu, dalam bebal yang bawa orang panas tau. Macam like, oh lepas tu baru kita nampak karakter dia macam ni, like so sebenarnya he's just like a normal person lah. He's not a super bebal lah actually. So we got confused because of that. And because of that, we don't feel satisfied lah. It's just like how the macam Jamal kata, bapak Siwu tiba-tiba kau dah jadi orang baik, dah bertobat. Like
soft. Alright, so dengan itu kita bakal membincangkan berpuluh-puluh subplot yang ada dalam siri ini. Pada aku, this series is too bogged down dengan too many minimal subplot yang pada aku tak penting pun. Macam assistant tiba-tiba ada masalah pasal husband dia nak pergi belajar lah. Like, ni bukan siri kau lah babi, kenapa aku kena tahu? So soalan aku tu semua panelis, pada pendapat anda, subplot dan watak sampingan manakah yang anda paling minati? Untuk aku is the penguin couple. Serta subplot dan watak sampingan manakah yang anda paling benci? Aku benci si ibu punya bapa. So kita mulakan dengan Jamal. Silakan.
Aku tak minat mana-mana subplot, sorry. Tetapi dalam semua subplot yang ada, yang aku paling kurang kritikal atau yang aku rasa paling okey adalah the penguin couple. Partly because they were the sister punya character was pretty well established, introduced and established. Likewise, the assistant director Shin was well introduced and ni. So bila they ended up together comically, which can be attributed to it being tropey ataupun it being contrived, it doesn't really matter, because after that happened, they had genuine exploration and discovery of their respective partners and also themselves. My only criticism about that is how assistant director Shin did not really address his remarks or elaborate on his remarks about how cerita dia tak ada hooking point. But they did a nice save by giving him that redemption, because she said, okay, I did not get the book deal, I needed this book deal, and their criticism is the exact same thing that you said, I don't have a hooking point. Aku duduk kat situ, these are two nerds who like each other, one that obviously knows what he means when he told her that there is no hooking point, fucking explain what the hooking point is. Simple. So he didn't do that. Now, because he could have still done that and still published her work. Faham tak? So we got scenes of him explaining kaki belakang alligator buaya ada berapa kaki. We got him explaining penguin dia jalan macam pendulum tu huyung hayang, but he could not explain kenapa cerita dia tak ada hooking point. So it is so pelik. It is so pelik and inconsistent. But I am willing to I'm willing to overlook that. Yeah.
Actually, funnily enough, that is a good metaphor of the actual writers of law.
Kan? point, ya.
hooking point. Tak ada hooking
Kan?
point.
That's a good point. Satu, tak ada hooking point. Dua, benda yang kau tak perlu explain. Kau gila babi flash out lah apa benda. Benda yang kau nak kena cakap, kau nak kena explain.
Benda yang patut kita cakap nak dengar apa benda tu. Apa? What is it?
Yeah. The story beats, the plot points tak cakap. Tak nak cakap. So,
Lepas tu lari ke meja. No.
This
Don't
is
want.
like
I want
Wheel
to
of
tell you.
Time all over again,
Yeah.
bro. This is Wheel of Time
Yeah.
K-drama edition.
betul asal. Exactly, this is Wheel of Time drama. Dia this is set for me sebab JTBC buat Sky Castle. Kalau korang nak tengok suspense in a rich family cebol tuition nak score masuk university punya setting, which is very specific, yang kita tak boleh nak relate, dan kita tak nak relate pun sebab kita bukan anak-anak orang elitis ke apa benda ke, sebab kita bukan T20. JTBC delivers that, tetapi it's fucking suspenseful. They even threw in a suicide, they even threw in a murder, a lot on top of it. JTBC pays for that, you know. For a few years, Sky Castle was the highest ranking K-drama of all time. Tapi kita dapat ni, so aku rasa kecewa lah. That being said, okay, going back to Shaz punya point, dia kata that is a metaphor for the writers. Itu yang aku paling minati, okay, less minati. Yang lain aku tak nak rank. Cerita yang aku paling berminat adalah senior forecaster punya cerita, but sadly they did not explain his decision to not balik rumah more often well. And then while they give a very compelling reason for the wife to create an inciting incident, which is they nak push for the divorce, they really did not do that subplot justice lah. I felt that would have been great. I did not really mind him U-turn balik pergi office, atau him deciding to not U-turn pergi office and go to the daughter's birthday. Either would have worked for me. But the reason why I couldn't choose on either, the positive thing is that because his character boleh buat either. It makes sense for him to do either at any point. Which is a good thing. But the negative thing in return to that is that, which is inconsistent lah. Aku tak boleh strongly want him to make the U-turn to go back to office, nor can I strongly want him to insist and ignore work to go to see his daughter. Because you know what, some shit you guys settle sendiri lah. Aku nak balik lah. Korang balik dating boleh. Aku balik nak pergi dengan family aku sekali dalam 10-15 tahun tak boleh. So, I think that was inconsistent. But I like the fact that bila dia tak datang tu, mak dia kata, dia punya bini cakap, bapak kau memang suka buat macam ni. So anak dia kata, tak apa, dah abah macam ni, boleh tak I order 2? Because the whole point of that is that the mother changes her heart because anak dia yang kata okay, because anak dia dah kenal bapak dia, which we kind of got a little bit off. Not enough, but we kind of got a little bit off. So that was what I was looking out for, because it went in the direction I wanted it to go, but not exactly in the way that I was hoping for. So it was, hit and miss lah. The rest of the subplots aku tak kisah, aku not interested. So which leads to the subplot yang paling aku benci bapak siu, hands down. Senang. Masa dia kena introduce tu, aku pelik kenapa dia pergi office siwu, lepak buat bising dekat Pak Gad, director Ha-kyung datang. That is so unrealistic. Which is still fine because but at least it was still at the Pak Gad. And kebetulan dekat situ ada bilik meeting dekat Pak Gad, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Kau pergi RTM pun dia ada that big center at the entrance. That being said, lepas tu dia boleh datang balik, lepas masuk dia KMA punya Central Operation Room. Aku tak cakap apa dah.
Semata-mata untuk plot move forward. Very convenient. Barely an inconvenience. Barely.
Lepas tu nak dalam untuk plot move forward. Plot move forward with the lamest of excuses. I want compensation. Ya Rabbi. Like, of all the things, it would have made more sense kalau dia buat bising dekat social media, dekat SNS. Lepas tu, Ha-kyung kena panggil dengan director. Oh, we got another SNS issue. What? We did not forecast it wrongly, any weather wrongly. We did not predict weather wrongly. Kita tak salah bagi excessive forecast. Kenapa ada kecoh ni? Oh no, it's not nothing to do with that. It's related to Siwu. Bapak dia buat kecoh dekat situ. And then they reached out to the father and the father datang. Yeah, I'm here now. What are you going to do about my son? That makes more sense. Kenapa? Sebab dah berepisod-episod kita nampak diorang kena deal dengan public backlash, be it by phone, but also by SNS and by articles, by social media. So it makes sense. Okay lah, bapak Siwu mungkin tak reti pakai SNS juga. Okay, so how do you do that? He comes back to the Pak Guard. The Pak Guard call Ha-kyung, remember the old guy that came here last time? He's still here. And then bila si Ha-kyung sampai kat situ, kebetulan director baru nak masuk office, nampak mamak ni bising-bising. Makes more sense. And then baru dia escort him masuk. Okay lagi. So it really doesn't make any sense. I really hated that. And I think it was rushed. I don't know, man. Aku rasa, and then I won't even start about him getting redemption, bro. I get that he needed to get redemption, but just like that, habis tu Siwu punya trauma daripada dia kecil sampai sekarang, benda tu tak address. Siwu is supposed to forget about all that. Lepas tu sayang Ha-kyung because Ha-kyung nak reconcile dia dengan bapak dia, and then they end up getting married. And because of he had the realization yang kita tak nampak, because it happened off screen, dia terus pergi ambil paper nak apply loan, nak beli rumah. What the sorry bro. Like yang director yang ada bapak husband dia nak kerja tu, it was fine, it was alright, because we got all the key things. Okay, dia jumpa bini dia, aku menangis-nangis, aku nak study. Okay, fine. Bini dia kena jemput dia, jemput anak, carry on the bag semua dapat. Lepas tu kantoi dia pergi main baseball. Right after nampak dia tak nak tolong jaga anak. So ending dia macam ni. Make sense, dah cukup. So no comments, itu par for the course. The girl, the comel-comel girl yang macam aku tak nak tekan department lah sebab semua all these newbies pandang aku. That was alright. Because we just needed to see that. We just needed her to say, I don't know if I belong or not. Which could have been said in any of the previous 15 episodes, but was not said. The moment she said that line, dia ada pun kita orang tak kisah. Sebab now we had to wait for so long baru kita nampak benda ni. Tapi this is how economical the writers can be, or rather how practical the writers can be. They introduced this whole I do not belong here 4 episodes ke 3 episodes ago. And then fast forward 3-4 episodes, they wrap it up. Boleh je. Kau boleh je buat subplot yang economical macam ni. Tapi yang lain-lain kau tak buat. So, kenapa? So, I think that's it lah for me. Yep, that's it. Other than that, yang lain semua merepek lah. Yang macam, ya Allah, dia ada setengah benda, dia ada fat. Tapi fat tu kena. Faham tak? Ini fat yang tak kena.
This was padding, macam Kudo tanya, is this the effect of the studio bearing down on the writers untuk pad up the season?
I lost interest in the series so that I did not entertain this thought. It will not be surprising if the answer is yes. I highly doubt it. Because JTBC has created very strong series that required very strong artistic and creative directions from the production team. So they would not have thrown money to Song Kang and Park Min Young to bring them back. Because Song Kang tengah mahal sekarang. This is like his 4th or 5th big series in the last 1.5 years, and the ones that are coming. So they know when to let go, and they know like, okay, we have a good read. This series is going to be big, or this series is going to be good. So they kind of have that. So I doubt it because the series yang diorang pegang, yang diorang bagi duit, semua series yang macam, okay, series ni very strong. Dia nampak dia punya identity kat mana, nampak cerita dia kat mana. So I think this series dropped the ball. That being said, if there was any pressure, maybe the writers or the writing team or the creative team did not handle it as good lah, and then it let them affect their judgment. Tapi when I went online, aku tak nampak banyak macam controversies or gossips about how the writers for Forecasting Love and Weather kena affected by anybody. Because a lot of them were just, okay, kita reduce marketing sebab show ni dah kena tembak for 4 episodes berturut-turut from 8 to 12. So, tak boleh apa. Macam 25-21, they change marketing sebab banyak fan backlash after episode 14. After episode 12, stuff like that. So, tapi tak ada bad gossips coming out. So, cerita ni tak ada bad gossips coming out. Not so, and JTBC, I don't think so lah. It could be, but I think I highly doubt it lah. Because macam mana, if dia punya inconsistency felt weak. Dia punya inconsistency bukan inconsistency yang macam the uncanny counter. Because the 12 episodes, yes, building up to something. The last 4 episodes, apa pasal? we were promised this, the character sendiri in the previous episode cakap macam ni, lepas tu dalam episod 15 tiba-tiba tukar. And then tengok gosip, oh okay, ada writer keluar, oh ada writer gaduh. So director had to finish the writing, and then the series was being written as it was being shot. Only the first 6 or 8 episodes was completed when production began. So macam untuk Floor ni aku tak tahu benda-benda macam tu, which means that there was barely any hype about it lah after episode 5 onwards, because it started going down. So nobody bothered to talk about all this, production gossips and stuff like that.
Wow, sad tu. Sampai orang tak kisah.
Yes, that is the biggest indictment. Macam 25-21 bergaduh sampai TVN punya social media, Instagram kena lock. They lock comments for every single.
No comments.
Semua tak boleh comment. They upload je. Because people reacted so strongly to that, which is a good sign lah, because people have very strong reactions. Sampai director kena death threats.
Kudu menambah, do you know anything about the writers, nama diorang or who they are, what their track record is? Are they inconsistent with quality?
That's a good question, Kudu. Let me very quickly Google them up. So aku nak cari diorang punya writing team pernah kerja cerita apa. Notes. Kejap Okay, we can go to Shaz first lah while I go look for the
Okay. Shaz, silakan Shaz. Manakah subplot yang kau minat, and then manakah subplot yang kau benci? Silakan.
Okay, kita start dengan subplot yang aku paling tak suka, because the rest of it I think was okay. Bapak Siwu punya subplot, kita semua dah agree that dia punya redemption was too fast, come out from nowhere. Anak cakap satu ayat je kau dah merajuk. Like, merajuk, tak nak jumpa lah, dah sedih lah, pasti ada your life lah. That is nonsense, okay? Because for you to be so hung up on gambling and a lot of this tak ada arah punya tujuan, you will not tiba-tiba just jadi baik for no reason. That is very inconsistent lah. And then he could have been written off in a different way, just one off. And then after that, it's done. Masuk jail. That's it. So then jail could have been a good redemption point for him, but they didn't go with that. There was no reason for him to redeem himself. Tak ada sebab.
Oh no.
Okay, from the plots, most of the plots again goes back to the original point. There is a tak cukup episode. It felt like not enough time was given lah. Senior forecaster, lepas dia dah maki, dia dah bengang dekat office tu, could have just called the wife. Okay, wait for me, I will be there. Aku dapat 5 minit pun tak apa, janji sampai. You could just make that call. Dia cakap, saya lambat, saya tak tahu kenapa ni. He just said, I had a major problem dekat office, ada orang bertumbuk, hidung berdarah.
Yes.
Then the wife tak gitu. Like, hello, Yang, ada orang bertumbuk kat hidung ni, aku dah maki dia orang semua ni, bangang semua, masa aku je. I'm on my way now. Wait for me at the restaurant, order for me T-bone steak, I'll be there. Baru macam the wife will like,
assertive.
Yes.
Lepas tu sebelum dia off the phone kan, masa aku je lah korang ke, hantu betul. Then the wife will like, okay, he's changing, he's making a big change. His plot would have been done there and then. He actually made it to his daughter's birthday, resolve, okay. Lepas tu like the next day kan, forecaster pergi nak buang sampah ke apa ke kan. Now because he's back to the family, lepas tu dia nampak, apa benda yang cop-cop merah ni? That was the divorce paper that got ripped. The wife dah rip apart. Habis cerita bro. It's like, for all you talk kan, you made it there, or even though you arrived in the last 10 minutes, your T-bone steak kau bungkus je, you were there, you made it, at least lah. Sebab aku rasa
actually kan,
mestilah
the wife just needs a good fucking bro. The wife just needed a good fucking 14 years waiting man for good fucking for me.
Yes, right. I mean, that's all they needed to do. Just to show that dia hangin sangat kan. Korang mau masa aku lah babi kan. Aku dah nak pergi dah ni. So aku datang balik, setan semua. Like, oh, okay. That means he really,
yeah,
setakat hidup darah, lepas tu aku datang balik, celaka.
Betul.
I mean,
That
Nick,
one-
I wouldn't say that lah. I think I wouldn't say that the wife needed that.
Okay
but
lah,
I get
she
your
just
sentiment.
needed a good loving. She just needed
Yes.
good loving.
No,
bro.
she
Good loving.
basically dia dah kekurangan keintiman tu. I get it. It's just that
Good
I just rasa macam why?
Dia
Shaz
lupa, bro.
completely on point.
Dia lupa.
That was exactly what was on my mind. Macam
Yeah.
make the U-turn, but when you call your wife, tell her why you're making the U-turn. Yes, make the U-turn, but you call your wife because before this, kau memang tak balik rumah, tapi you never bothered to explain to her. What would have been cool? Dia berhenti kereta kat tepi, call wife dia, put my daughter on the phone. I am really, really sorry. That would have been awesome, but we lost it. So that was him trying to find the balance between his work and family, where he knows where his priorities are, but he knows what is he giving off, what is he sacrificing it with. Faham tak? So we want to see him do that. Betul lah.
So, and if he mentioned ada orang bergaduh kat office, both of them will not have made a fuss about it.
Yeah.
Oh, ada orang dah bertumbuk kat office ni. I'll be back, I'll be there as soon as I can. That's it. Settle lah. And then bila sampai tengok, engkau yang buat aku datang balik. Lepas tu dia mengamuk kan. Dah mengamuk tu pergilah call wife terus. Kan cakap, bawa phone dia. Live ni. Kau nampak mamak ni, hidung darah ni.
Yeah. Can you
Dia
explain
macam ni
to my wife? Can
menyebabkan-
you explain to my daughter? Please
explain
explain to my daughter
sekarang kau buat aku lambat.
why you make me late or you make me skip the daughter punya dinner? Something like that. That would have been funny
Yeah.
because it's not realistic, but
The-
it's very consistent with it's inilah faham.
the tone of the story.
Yes.
And it actually
Betul,
fit
yes.
his character because
Yeah.
dia banyak benda lucu yang macam like macam ni
Lucu
pula
yang pelik.
masalah kau kan.
Simu,
But it would have been the best closer. The reason the real reason there was an issue is because aku rasa they are following a formula in the entire series. All of the what was the term again? All of the payoff or the penamat for every story plot subplot semua tu has to be on the last episode. Dia orang
last
tak
episode. Yeah.
change it a bit. Some of them, you can put the subplots ni ending in episode 15 and the mains on 16. So have been a much better division. Kalau tidak, kau tak macam rushing semua sekali all together. Macam like okay, the penguin couple is my favourite. You could have ended dia orang punya subplot on episode 15 and they will like Ha-kyung lalu tengok adik dia, kakak dia sengih-sengih tak habis It's just a simple point je like I ada lah, I'm dating again. I'm like, oh, good for you. Just a simple thing like that. Then you can already see that they can end it the subplot on 15 and they were showing the next step, the tomorrow's answers. So now you see the answers lah. The resolution is not happening in episode 16. Then what else? The girl yang the most cutie girl tu, the youngest tu, itu that is pretty much standard lah. Bila newbie datang, then dia macam like, oh, okay, aku sebenarnya ada lah, there is some worth. A new staff generally will not feel confident until they see someone newer, and they will like, oh, sebenarnya aku dah belajar. There are things that I've already learned.
Actually, that
over
character
time. If not, kan, you won't feel the worth.
There's a better vision in Business Proposal, and she has less lines than this chick in this stupid show. She's handled way better, acted way better in that one.
I mean, for all, it feels kind of weird because the first 4 to 8 episodes was written so well. Tapi midpoint tu dia menjadi lemah. Aku rasa they could have been given to other writers along the way. Cuba kau write the story ni. Then they try to tie up everything at the end. Then macam like, we make big mistake, we bagi orang yang kurang experience write it. Then the senior writers like, how do we resolve this? Bukan bapak dia dapat di national art ke? Lah. It's like, we got 2 episodes left, bro, what do we do? Kalau tak jelasin, nangis satu.
That's a good theory, Shaz. That's a good theory. It does happen in normal productions. I'm not saying this is a normal production, but it is not uncommon for that to happen in productions where the story starts off with a bang because it was using the draft sample or the draft version of the series that was written by the lead creators, and then the lead creators know that okay, aku dah buat kau basic, aku dah buat kau foundation, and then you just flesh out on that. We know that we want these things to happen. We want it, that we want it to end this way. So you just find your way to get to these milestones and get to the ending. That's a good theory, which is a nice segue to Kudo punya question tadi. So the writer that is credited for this is a writer called Sun Young. Not a lot of info I can find on her, but dia punya story. This story was actually conceptualized by a person called Ha-kyung, which is a very popular screenwriter and creator. So dia punya writing credits besar. So in this film, in this series, this Ha-kyung was credited as the creator for Forecasting Love and Weather, because when the series started out, they announced that Cha Yong-hoon, the director, will direct the series, and the series will be created by Glenn Kriku, and the group writer is Ha-kyung. So Ha-kyung, as a creator, dia punya profile is high sebab dia buat The World of the Married. So I do not know if you guys watch K-dramas during the first year of the pandemic, but The World of the Married was huge. Everyone was talking about it, and it came the year ke 2 years after Sky Castle, because setahun je tak silap aku, which was also JTBC. So it was like the marquee JTBC series, and The World of the Married is basically about infidelity, about two couples cheating.
Idea tu was from a very talented writer, but the execution after that was
which is why I called for this segue, is about Shaz punya theory tu might just be the reason why. That being said, Ha-kyung as a creator, she also created Now We Are Breaking Up, which is out this year or just came out within the last few months, dan banyak orang marah cerita tu because bersepah, ending macam ni inconsistent. So when I go to Ha-kyung punya credit for writing credits, some of them are pretty interesting. Dr. Romantic 2, very popular for casual watchers. Okay lah, yang aku familiar dan yang aku tahu is just probably that lah. And Where Stars Land, it might be popular over there. Yeah, I know this series. It was popular over there, tapi aku tak tengok, I skipped it. So that is the writer. The director, on the other hand, now this is why aku macam lah masa Shaz tengah cakap tadi. The director is Cha Yong-hoon. Director Cha ni, dia punya directing credits was When the Camellia Blooms. Aku tengok When the Camellia Blooms. I love the series. So in many ways, I see a lot of Camellia in this series, because dalam When the Camellia Blooms, one of the biggest credits it received was that it felt very indie, but it was produced by a station atau network that was very kerajaan. Because it was produced by KBS. So kau bayangkan, siri-siri Astro, quality Astro, vibe Astro, tapi station yang commission dan station dapat credit RTM. It felt that way because that's what KBS is. It's a national network. So Camellia is a huge hit. It won a lot of Big Sang Awards, and one of the biggest compliments it got was the fact that bukan setakat bersepah-sepah trope K-drama dalam tu, tetapi trope tu is an homage, not as a main point. The story, the entire 16 ke 18 episodes, ada macam-macam genre kat dalam. So depending on which parts of the series you are watching, it transitions from a very rom-com, over the top, to a police procedural / crime serial killer story, to a slice of life sebab bapa the father of the child now nak reconcile with the mother of the child when he realizes that he made the wrong choice of leaving her in the first place, and then it transitioned into the whole town coming together to solve the serial killer by protecting the single mother, because everybody loved the kid, and then became a rom-com because the police officer that is going out with the mother was trying really, really hard to protect the mother from the serial killer while protecting the town, while making sure that the former boyfriend tak kacau balik apatah lagi since the former boyfriend tu is a pro baseball player yang popular kat Korea. So he had a lot of genres but it balanced. So dia punya storytelling sangat balance. So that was a very surprising creative. Semua orang kata macam kalau kau tengok Camellia ni macam kau tengok 3 genre dalam satu. Tetapi none was overpowering another, and the very strong chemistry within the few lead characters tu, termasuk anak dia yang dah jadi a very famous child actor, carried the story sampai habis. So every character ada redemption. Sampai karakter-karakter yang mati jadi mangsa, serial killer pun ada redemption dia. So I was very surprised bila aku tengok benda tu macam so maybe this was one of the reasons why the director decided to do Floor lah, because we have multiple plots, we have multiple characters, so maybe this is not too different than what I've experienced doing with Camellia, and he tried it. And then since the story was created by UNTUK, which created World of the Merit, maybe it's a good story, it's new, there's a novelty, KMA, which is great because yes, it is very relevant into normal Korean everyday lives. And then tak banyak all these kind of stories really focus on office romance outside of a rom-com. They don't focus on office romance. They don't focus on office romance as a slice of life. So maybe on paper it looked like a great project, and the first 5 episodes, because UNTUK was the lead creator, it went well. And then the writer that was credited with the most writing, which is Sun Young, may have taken over lah from episode 6 or 7, 8 onwards, macam Shaz punya theory. So that is ni lah. So maybe it's an answer, but I think at this point none of us are really that bothered anymore, unfortunately. Unfortunately. So if any of you feel like watching old K-dramas back within the last 5 years, go watch Camellia. Very satisfying. Very, very satisfying. Very endearing characters. Yeah. And semua orang dapat redemption, semua orang punya arc cantik.
Alright.
The last subplot yang aku dah cakap.
Going back to Shaz. Yeah, sorry.
Ada akak kawasan tu lah. Dia dengan husband dia. Just suddenly the husband dia pakai ni, I like you the way you are. So
macam what the fuck? What the fuck, man?
Kan dia macam tak ada sebab. I mean kalau katakan dia dah like kenapa kau buang tebiak ni, duk anak kau dah bangun semua ni. Oh, I took your words to heart and aku dah pass the exam. Dah lepas ke dia exam? That's why I'm very relaxed now. That's why I'm cooking the food and everything. I'll be going back to work soon also. You like tapi macam like aku suka kau as you are. Macam like that is something you would tell a budak yang, you know, kalau ke Asian punya culture kau dah gagal apa, TMR tak apa, nak saya suka sayang awak regardless what you do. Not the kind of, you know, aku bagi kau ultimatum sekarang, kau decide kau nak cerai ke, kau nak study ke, kau nak apa, kau nak buat sambung kerja. It just felt out of the blue ah. It didn't feel like a closure. Kalau katakan it's like okay lah, you dah decided not to continue the thing, now you want to transition back to work and everything, it's okay, you know, we tried but you couldn't, you know, maybe learning is not for you, you know. Apalah, we just continue our work. We have been so much better. Like, I like you the way you are. It's like, dari mana, bro?
Seriously,
Agreed.
I think that's pretty much all the subplots kot. Ada lagi subplot.
I think that is all. That is all.
The mom punya subplot, dia tak ada subplot. Dia just pemangkit.
Dia constant factor throughout the whole series.
Kan, she's in everybody's life.
Itulah.
Oh, tapi there's one important point about yang bapak Siwu tu. Aku lupa nak mention tadi. In governmental punya building, you tak dibenarkan masuk.
Yeah, that's our point. That's our point. Pergi waktu sampai boleh masuk ke tengah-tengah office, menjerit-jerit dia macam to serve the story.
Yeah, and then the secondary subplot. Aku baru teringat the last subplot. Tiba-tiba je the chief of apa? Chief team nombor 1 or whatever, dia ada chief team ngamuk-ngamuk. In a real environment, working environment,
professional.
Dia tak akan mengamuk pun because you are making judgment at that point of time. Okay, yes, you could carry forward everything, but new things came out, new development. So like
betul.
It's quite kind of weird lah.
It's kind of
apa ni kuda punya komen ni?
Ya, yang cerita yang dia cakap tadi yang Camellia tu, dia kata is off-putting pada dia personally.
Oh, aku nak tanya dia. Wanda Vision kau tengok tak?
Aku rasa kudu jumpa kita melalui anime, bukan melalui MCU.
That's a good point, Shaz. It did not occur to me, but that's an interesting point. I think if you are taking it as a statement, whether or not you watch Camellia is irrelevant. If you're taking it as a statement, yeah, it would be off-putting, understandably so. But this is the credit to the series. Sebab tu aku cakap, it is an unexpected compliment that everybody celebrated. When you're watching it, you don't realize it. When you are watching the series, you do not realize that it was different genres. Only when you reading comments of people who watched it before and made that observation, and then that very observation became one of the main media points when they are crediting or reviewing the series. Then kau rasa macam, yeah, you managed to do it. The fact that I did not even realize it's different genres because of how strong the lead characters were written to carry the story. It's great. So kalau kau nak ambil benda tu as a statement, no comment lah. Aku tak boleh cakap apa lah. It's very quite rhetorical lah. Sama, but multi-genre as a plot device, dude. So what makes you feel that the multi-genre in Camellia is not a plot device? Because you cannot have a serial killer being comical in a rom-com. So the transition works. So same. In fact, they did it even better than WandaVision, I would argue, because WandaVision is by episode. One episode 30-an,
Yeah.
one episode 60-an.
This one is rojak.
One episode 70-an.
Camellia is
Ini
rojak.
rojak. Yeah. Of course, kita tak ada Korean punya tastes lah with regards to dramas and all that. So that is another mitigating factor. Tapi pada aku, I watched it not knowing all this stuff. After I realized I liked it and I continued binging on it, and then I read reviews and then people make observations. This is one of the reasons why it became popular. Tiba-tiba orang yang suka crime procedural atau crime horror serial killer suka tengok cerita ni. Kenapa? Oh, that's a nice escape from watching your crime serial killer punya stories. Orang yang suka tengok macam cerita-cerita polis, they liked it because okay, karakter Kang Ha-kyung ni logical. Orang yang suka tengok very strong lead female characters yang a single mother suka tengok. Kenapa? All the other stories are very slice of life, very serious. But this one, it is very heartwarming and very endearing. So yeah, so it is what it is. Even if you watch it after I say this, you might still not like it. You might not like it for a different reason, but that doesn't mean it didn't work.
Alright. So dengan itu kita bakal mengakhiri segmen ini ataupun live stream hari ini dengan rating kami bagi siri ini. Sorry, overly aku cakap harapan tapi dah tak ada harapan dah. So ini adalah rating kami. Personally, I find it too melodramatic and just like hometown cha-cha-cha. Aku tak habis tengok ni. So Jamal jangan marah aku kalau aku tak suka.
Oh, siri ni tak kisah. Siri ni tak kisah.
Siri ni tak kisah. Okay. I personally give it about 3.5 over 10 je lah. It started awesome. Like they had promise there and then it meandered and then I just didn't care anymore after episode 12. Oh yeah, after episode 12 I just gave up. I just gave up on the series. Shaz, silakan rating kau over 10 for Virgin for K-drama Virgin silakan.
Susah aku nak rate sebab it's my first. Actually bagi Jamal rate dulu. Bagi Jamal rate dulu. I need to think further on this.
Okay.
Aku I started with a 4. I dropped to I normally start with a 5. I dropped it to 4. And I think I would be inclined to agree with Nick's 3.5 for myself because of how infuriating it made me feel. It was not lackluster, it was not mediocre, it was not run of the mill. That is why it needed to go to a 3.5. If it was lackluster, mediocre, oh I've seen this before, but you know what, I needed to pass my time, yeah, it will get an easy 4 or 5. But because it was infuriating, I think kalau aku kasi aku bagi 4 lah. Tapi I wouldn't be mad if I give it a 3.5.
Yeah.
Because my bar is my mister, my bar is Miss Saying. You know, and my bar now also includes 25-21. So kalau itu adalah 10, maka 8 adalah signal, maka 8 adalah good shit. Kalau itu 8, maka 6 is slightly above average stuff, which is tunnel, which means the fives are like macam, okay, this is a run of the mill series.
Yes.
You watch it, you don't think too much about it. Like for example, apa nama cerita tu? Okay, a 4 is Descendants of the Sun. So tapi Descendants of the Sun aku tak marah sebab aku nampak okay, this is like a melodramatic K-drama rom-com yang everybody gets a happy ending. But it was not infuriating. It's just for me macam I did not sign up for this simplistic love story. Boringnya. Itu je.
Where would you put my first K-drama, Startup? It's average.
Startup would be a 5 for me.
Okay, faham.
Dia Startup is a 5 because it cannot get a 7. Because again,
the last quarter.
For me, the fucked up the second half. So if I take first half je, it's an easy 7. It's an easy 7 that could have gone to an 8 or a 9. But they fucked it up, so dia turun jadi 5. Aku nak bagi 6, aku macam 50-50.
The time jump lah. The time jump
yang ruined it. Sama dengan Itaewon Class. Kalau kau main first half, Itaewon Class is an easy 7 or 8. Itaewon Class is an easy 7 or 8. Tapi lepas second half, masuk time jump, rosak. So, yeah. Tadi Kudo punya komen, dia kata, bukan. Mixing of genres bukan je semua penting, tapi komedi, drama kau buat. How? You watch it lah. I do not know how they did it. I wouldn't do it myself. But dia tak ada law drama, dia tak ada sci-fi. It was rom-com first, lepas tu it was slice of life, and then it had serial killer. 39 best, tapi dia kena tengok sebab it's not my this kind of stories atau premise yang aku gravitate, sebab it's midlife three female characters. So aku agak wary going into that kind of stories sebab aku macam Crazy Love is fun. Crazy Love is fun. Getting a lot of good hype. Not as big as Business Proposal dengan 25-21, but yes, it's an enjoyable watch. Yeah, itulah. Aku rasa ni.
Okay, silakan Shaz, rating kau sebelum
aku dah fikir lama
live stream malam ini.
Basically, kalau aku rate Squid Game as a 10 out of 10 punya type show, Floor was heading to 8 or 9 in the first half before it started to go down. So I think overall it becomes a 6 or 7. Itu je. I mean, it is slightly better than standard fare because of the starting point. But later on, macam like, should I continue watching this?
Tinggi tu.
Tapi sebab aku suka karakter dia. I love the character, so aku dah terikat because of the character.
Tak apa. Ada yang lagi bagus di luar sana. Ya.
Tahu, tapi aku tak minat sangat.
Tak apa, kita akan tarik awak sampai awak minat. Tak apa.
Macam ni lah, aku cari je lah cerita lain yang ada Ha-kyung ni. Aku suka actress dia kan, so that.
Okay, kalau kau suka karakter Ha-kyung, kau tengok What's Wrong with Secretary Kim.
Ya.
Dan juga yang, alamak, selalu lupa nama series ni. Yang dia jadi K-pop mom tu. Alamak.
Ada dekat Netflix kalau nak tengok.
So dua-dua tu ada.
What's Wrong with Secretary Kim.
Dua-dua dekat
di Netflix ya.
Dua-dua dekat Netflix. Park Min Young for
Secretary Kim tu aku rasa mungkin aku pernah dengar my dad watch kot. So
ni, kau tengok ni, Her Private Life. Itu best.
Private Life, what was it about
Dia secretary to time ni dia suka berlakon secretary sebab semua orang cakap ni. Dia curator dekat art gallery, so very art lah, seni. Tapi dia punya private life, dia suka gila babi K-pop dan dia macam K-pop mom kepada satu K-pop band ni. So yeah, so that's the ni lah. That is the apa nama?
Yaki Western Django.
By the way, Kudo, I did not think you were calling me out. And it's fictitious, it's not fictitious. But yeah, tengoklah yang Her Private Life tu. Cerita tu lawak. Tapi dalam minggu ni akan ada cerita baru.
Spy X Family, kita akan continue coverage.
Ada lawak doh.
Hello anime, kita akan kembali untuk cover anime bermula minggu depan. So nantikan. Alright guys, so aku rasa dengan itu berakhirlah sesi kita selama berapa minggu 20, 12, 16 episod, 8 minggu
8 minggu tolak 1.
Kita bercerita tentang K-drama yang tolak 2 lah actually.
Oh 2 ya tolak 2.
Ya, tolak 2 kita ada cuti masa
I am
Batman juga.
personally sorry for hyping up this series after the first 4 episodes.
Tak apa, the
So-
first 4 episodes was like super good. It's just that it went nowhere after that. Macam ada
No,
kan.
it started as a 8 or 9. Yes,
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. Tapi aku really enjoyed business proposal. So keep on recommending shit bro. At the end of the day, it might end up becoming a business proposal. So baik.
Woo. Aku
Yeah.
macam sangat sedih kita tak cover 25-21 instead sebab aku rasa there will be a lot of discussions around kenapa dia buat macam ni? Kenapa dia cakap macam ni?
Tak apa.
Yeah.
The
But,
next batch
jangan
nanti kita akan tengok.
Toxic
Kita akan
fandom is the worst, man.
tengok.
Bila the fans wanted this to happen and it didn't happen,
Yeah.
Naruto top internet kau tahu.
Actually, I at some point I stopped going to subreddits. I only go there for news sebab the amount of noise, things like that, ada to drown out stuff that people are trying to talk about and rationalize is very unproductive lah, to say the least. Sebab bersembah aku malam semalam lepas aku tengok finale episode 16, aku terus buka subreddit. All the comments were like, if you want to do a K-drama about realism or about realistic shows, I don't need that because I watch K-dramas for escapism. Betul. Ya, semua blocked out. So semua komen lain semua macam blocked out. And then kau kena sift through and then tiba-tiba kau dapat, oh, I like the fact that how this character process his parents punya guilt affected him so much that he was so traumatized and he started not avoiding to process his own guilt by becoming protecting everybody. Lepas tu macam, oh, but that's shit excuse for not letting them end up together by the writers. The writers fucked up this one. Macam, wow, how is that? Wow, aku macam, oh man.
Itulah.
Like, because the series is not bad objectively speaking. So, if the series is bad objectively, then kau nak kutuk, go ahead. But the series is not bad objective. In fact, it's brilliant objectively speaking. But because kau tak suka, kau kutuk lah. So, and you stop other people from wanting to talk about why they like the series because kau macam tak puas hati, diorang tak setuju dengan kau. Seolah-olah bila diorang tak setuju tu, it validated your experience. So the closest the closest similar incident is basically Star Wars dengan Rian Johnson dengan Kathleen Kennedy. Yeah. So
itulah
macam,
perasaan DCEU fans dan juga Star Wars fans for the past 5 years. So
macam tu lah. I feel bad because they are not talking about the merits of the show. Because if you look at the merits of 25-21, like dia punya cinematic language, dia punya, oh my god, I can talk about episode 14 alone for like 3-4 hours. It is beautifully done. It's a heartbreaking ending, but it is life. Lepas tu bila kata, if this is life, I don't need to watch it. I can just live my own life. Macam
susah macam tu. Tapi tak apa, that's why we exist in the first place, sebagai fandom, untuk membincangkan, berdebat dan juga bergaduh pasal benda-benda macam ni. Alright guys, so
tapi yang orang tak tahu adalah we watch the bad shit, so you don't have to watch the bad shit.
Why the last man? Alright guys, so itu saja
More
untuk malam
bias.
ini.
I need more bias.
Join us tomorrow di mana kita bakal membincangkan tentang Superman and Lois season 2 episode 9. Hari Rabu kita akan bincangkan tentang business proposal, finale bagi K-drama yang aku suka tu. And then hari Khamis kita akan bincangkan tentang Moon Knight season 1 episode 2. Layla. Itu saja untuk malam ini. Majulah fandom untuk negara. Bye guys.